Hey there, it's Laura Godwin, your Scentsy Superstar Director. So I'm getting ready to go work out. I am in workout clothes, my hair is tied back because I'm going to sweat and I don't have any makeup on. But I'm coming to you like this because I want to chat with you about how CrossFit and being a Scentsy consultant are super similar. You may not be a super workout person and you may not exercise at all, but I promise that the things that I share with you today are going to be absolutely applicable no matter what your exercise is like. So, a little bit about me. My motto in life has always been to not sweat on purpose. Whatever you do, get out of sweating. And that has always been how I've lived my life until last fall. And then I decided that I've watched my husband junk his comfort zone and do Scentsy with me. I've watched him do things like live videos and festivals and fundraisers. I've watched him package orders and label bars, and he's done all of this for our Scentsy business. So I thought to myself, I am going to come his way a little bit, and this would be something that we could do together. It would be super fun, and he would really appreciate it because he knows how anti-exercise that I am. And so I decided that I would do this CrossFit, and I've never exercised in my life. I didn't play any sports. I was homeschooled and I played the piano. And so exercising, like I probably had maybe 1% muscle mass in my body. And to do something like CrossFit, I've really realized it is an elite sport, and it is something that you need a lot of technique with, and I had none of those, absolutely none. And so I started CrossFit, and I was super intimidated. And I want to tell you that when I started Scentsy, I was the same way. I didn't have any kind of like natural salesman ability. I didn't have any kind of degree in marketing. I didn't know how to interact with customers and to, I didn't even have a social media. Like I was just not really naturally prepared to rock out in the Scentsy world. But you know what? What I learned is that with Scentsy and with CrossFit is that you can do the big things. I've watched myself grow in CrossFit. No, I can't lift what everybody else does, and I'm still learning what all the different movements are and the techniques and all that kind of stuff. And thankfully, I have great coaches at my CrossFit box that will come by and work with me and correct me and make sure that my form is just right. The big fun part is that I look around at the CrossFit gym box, whatever you want to call it, and I see these women that are as small as me, but they have big muscles and they can lift so much weight. And here I am struggling with my little 20-pound dumbbell, and they are lifting 45 pounds or whatever it is. I might be huffing and puffing at a 200-meter run, and they're blowing it out of the water with an 800-meter run. What I'm saying is that I could look around at the people that I work out with, and I could let that discourage me. I could compare myself to them, and I could get super down on myself. Or I could use their performance to inspire me of what's possible. And that is the same way in Scentsy. When you look around in Scentsy and you see people recruiting 6 and 7 people a month and selling $2,000 and earning trips and flying to the home office for, different events. And when you look around and you see all of that happening, it could intimidate you. It could discourage you if you let it. But I hope that you choose to do what I do in CrossFit. And I hope that you choose to let it motivate you and inspire you to see what's possible. See, if those rock stars weren't rocking out, then none of us would know what was possible. We wouldn't have a reason to push ourselves. But then you also have to remember that it takes time, and you can't compare where you are today in your journey. You can't compare that to where someone else is on their journey. I have learned, you have to remember that where you're weak, someone else might be strong, and where they're strong, you may be weak. And sadly, I don't know why, but we never or rarely compare our strengths to other people's weakness. We always compare strengths to strengths. And sadly, what I've sometimes found is that I will compare my weakness to someone else's strength instead of being fair and understanding that we're all made differently. Just like in Scentsy, some of you may be really natural at recruiting and others of you might really struggle with it. Some of you may be naturally talented on follow-up and hostess coaching, working one-on-one, and others of you might really struggle in that area. You know what? That's okay. The biggest thing is that we just have to keep trying, and we have to align ourselves with where we want to be and not get too bogged down with what we're not good at. The cool thing about CrossFit is that I have learned to stretch myself and to celebrate small victories that maybe nobody else in the gym even notices, but I can go home and I can say, man, I know that I pushed myself a little bit harder today. One other thing that I want to leave you with is that I have found that how I eat and what I put into my body before CrossFit really impacts my performance while I'm there. So I may only be there for 30 or 40 minutes a day, but the pre-workouts, the making sure that I'm hydrated with lots of water, the protein that I eat throughout the day before I go, super impacts how I feel and how I perform. And likewise with Scentsy, sometimes I mentor people that say they struggle with an area, and when I really kind of quiz them on it, I found that they've never one time tried to get strong in that area before they did it. For instance, if you're going to do a fundraiser, you need to realize that there may be a lot of prep work that you need to do to make sure that you're ready and passionate and prepared to rock that fundraiser. I recommend watching several trainings. I mean, maybe even like 5 or 6, getting different ideas, really trying to perfect your fundraiser before you ever begin. If you don't, then you might get super discouraged at your outcome. You also may find that you aren't confident and therefore you don't enjoy yourself while you're there. There have been a few times I've shown up to CrossFit and I hadn't eaten properly that day. Maybe not enough calories and maybe the wrong kind of calories. And it was not a fun time. I didn't feel like I could run. I didn't have any energy. I got easily fatigued. I had a bad headache. I was super thirsty. It was just not a good day. And you know what? A lot of times, whenever we're trying to get through our Scentsy events or different things that we do in Scentsy, if we've not properly prepared, then you know what? Sometimes we may find that we are easily discouraged, or we may find that we're not loving the journey when we're right in the middle of it, right? And it could be so different. You could actually have fun. Your results are different whenever you prepare properly. When you've done some trainings on how to coach your hostess and you've really put some time in to learn how to, perfect your home party, or maybe even your basket party or your fundraiser or whatever it is that you're going and setting out to do, when you feel confident and you know that you've studied or you know that you've taken good notes and really, reached out to people that are good in this area, then guess what? When you set out to do it, oh my gosh, it changes everything. You're ready, you're passionate, you get great results, and it makes you want to do it more. That is how it is in CrossFit. That's how it is in Scentsy. They are super similar, and I never ever would have thought so, but it truly is the truth. So I want to inspire you to put in some time, just like you would working out. I want to inspire you to prepare, to watch trainings in the training center, search things on YouTube, read books, put your time in, get that pre-workout in so that when you are working out and when you are working your Scentsy business, you feel better about yourself. You get better results. Then I want you to not compare yourself. You can't go into CrossFit looking at that WOD, the workout of the day, and realizing that everybody else knows what, some of the things are, and they know that they can lift a lot of weight, and you can't go into that getting discouraged when you see that on the board. You have to understand that, hey, I can't lift that yet. I can't run that far yet, but watching other people do such big things should do nothing but help motivate you and to help inspire you that, hey, it can be done. That can be you. It may take time, but it absolutely is possible because you're watching people do it every single day. Don't compare yourself and your journey to someone else's journey, because you may not be in the same spot and you may not have the same, strengths and weaknesses, and that's okay. That's what makes us different and awesome and powerful. So I hope this helps. I hope that you feel inspired to take your Scentsy business a little bit more seriously. And I hope that this silly illustration will help you think twice before you set out to do something big in Scentsy, maybe without preparing or without really going into it with the right mindset either. All right, bye.